Everybody, welcome back to the channel. So here is our Minn Kota 50, the Traxxas model. This is a very old model. It's probably 10 years old or so. And you may have seen it in some of my videos. It's been sitting on my vise for probably 2 years. All right, so currently we have it hooked up to my 12-volt deep cycle battery, and we have nothing. So I think we're going to start this diagnosis by popping the cover off, and let's take a look inside. Oh my God. All right, so let's pop this cover off, take a look inside. So it looks like we've got a couple of quick fittings here. Wow. So all that little connector does is that's for your battery. So you can see the state of the battery. All right, taking a look inside, everything looks nice and clean. We have our rheostat switch here, and that's from the handle when we turn the handle. A couple of relays looks like. So I see here we have our power in, so we got our negative and our positive from our battery. This goes to the motor here and here. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we'll just check for power here, and then we'll check for power here on the outside, and that should eliminate the board, or at least eliminate this section, but not necessarily the switch. So all right, so I have my meter set to 20 volts DC, and here we have the inputs for the battery here. So let's check for voltage. We should have 12 volts here. We have nothing. Okay, turns out I'm not that bright. So it looks like the actual connectors for the from the battery are here. So this is the battery coming in. So we're going to check for our voltage from our battery voltage here. There you go. You can see we have 12.73 volts there, which is great. So on the other side, we should have nothing here. Which we don't. So now I'm going to slowly rotate the handle, and we should see an increase in voltage, and we do. So as I slowly rotate the handle upwards, it's going to increase in voltage until it's wide open, and we have our battery voltage. So that is on this side right here, if you guys can see that. So we tested battery voltage here. Again, we have our battery voltage, 12.72 volts. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So that kind of tells me that the rheostat is working fine, as well as the relays are working and the capacitors. Now we should see reverse voltage when we put it into reverse. So let's try this now. And there we have reverse voltage. That's for the reverse. So that's just flipping the polarity. Okay. So we know that all of this is good, so I guess we're going to go down to the motor. Hey Ash, bud, Ash, want to say hi? Go say hi to everybody. Go say hi. Say hello. He's a good dog. All right, I've never had one of these apart, so we're going to try and give you guys the best view we can here. We'll start by removing the prop. These ratchets are garbage. Like, see what it does? I don't know if you guys have these Stanley tools, but they are absolute. See how it flips on you? Stanley tools, they suck, and they're not cheap. All right, let's see what we should have here. All right, so we have a washer and a cage nut, self-locking with the nylon inside. Look at this. All right, well, we got some weeds in there. No, we got fishing line or weeds. All right, so our prop pin is in good condition. That's a good thing to see. The prop is in good shape. Put that aside. All right, so to take the prop off, I used a 13mm socket. So now to remove the housing, we're going to use an 8mm socket. Oh, and that came out a lot better than I thought it was going. These ratchets, I'm telling you. I got to switch ratchets. Why is it everything I own is either broken or rusted? I just got to get this old socket off of there somehow. All right, back to what we were doing. Let's get this motor apart here. Nothing broken. That's great. These appear to be in pretty good shape. So now we're going to attempt to just see what we can do here. Oh. All right, that's probably a very good indication of why this motor is not working. Oh my. I need a bucket. 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 That's a lot of water. I can just imagine what this poor thing's going to look like inside. All right, so here we have a cage bearing. Seal in the back here. Seal washer. Sealed and another washer there. It goes like so. So we'll just put that aside. And we have a C-clip right here. Yeah, there's a lot of debris and garbage in there. And we're going to try and remove the housing itself. There. Okay, so this is magnetic. There we go. We got the housing out. Actually, it's not in as bad a shape as I thought it would be for all that water. All right, so theoretically this should just pull out of there somehow or other. Yeah, it looks like that should just slide straight out of there. So we do have to get the stator out of here somewhere. Now there should be a bearing back there. I can see the brushes are seized. Oh, there we go. Oh boy. Yeah, that's ugly. I'm really not sure about the fixing part of this. So as you can see right here, the piece our brushes run on. We'll do our best here to get this cleaned up, and I'm really not sure why there was so much water in there. So we do have a Torx screw here and a Torx screw here. Like I mentioned, we have one good brush on this side and this one is seized. Not that the brushes were the problem, because I believe that water was probably the issue. So let's get this holder out of here somehow without breaking anything and clean it up. Oh, that is good news. Wow. Well, I think we got lucky on that one for sure. All right, well, so we're not too lucky in that top one yet. So we need a little bit more gripping power here. Let's see if this works. I should have used that to start off with. All right, screw number 2. Again, super lucky that we did not break that. Now, theoretically, this brush holder should pop out of here, and there should be wires on the back from the top. Now, normally, had this been cleaned, the first thing I would have checked would have been for the power here and here. Seeing as how a gallon of water just came out of it, I don't think that's necessary. You know what, I'm going to mark this first, positive and negative, so I remember how it goes back together. That way you don't have to think about it. So I'll just scratch a little plus sign on this side here. Then I won't have to rack my brain or try and think about how that was. There we go. There's one. Oh, that hurt. There we go. Brush holder assembly. Out. All right, let's give you guys a look inside. As you can see, it's pretty yucky in there. And the edges, this is going to need some considerable work to clean it up. I'll do that one off camera. I think the first thing we're going to do right now is get to the bench and take a look at those parts that we just took out of there. Okay, so right now the workbench is a mess, as you can see, so let's get that cleaned up. All right, so here we have everything on the workbench in the order in which we took it out. And as you can see, I'm not too concerned, This is the thing that I am worried about the most. So let's start working on this. Let's get this cleaned up a little bit. See if we can get that bearing off first and go from there. Well, my first thought that I would be able to save this bearing, but that is definitely not going to be the outcome of this for sure. Well, that's disappointing. I'm sure I can order this bearing, but I guess we'll just continue cleaning up and yeah. And this is why I say all the time on the channel, things just don't go always as expected. Right now we're just heating up the bearing race so I can try and pull that off the shaft. Well, it's moving. And I had to cut the race off with my little grinder. So I got that off now. We're going to continue cleaning this up. I don't have a bearing, so let's just keep cleaning. right, everybody, so check this out. So we got the housing for the magnet all cleaned up. You saw me clean up the faceplate here. Now this is, I believe, a pressed-in seal, and there's a grease inside. Everything inside there looks good. There's a brass bushing on this side that the shaft rides on, and the shaft is in perfect condition, no damage there. I cleaned up the O-ring. When I'm shopping for the bearing, I'll see if I can get a new O-ring, but I could reuse the O-ring because I'm cheap. Also, we cleaned up our screws, our Torx head screws. We cleaned up our brushes. These are nice and clean now, nice and shiny. And we will apply some dielectric grease to these right here. And these are nice and clean, and we still have lots of brush left, so I'm pretty certain these will go back together okay. Got our washers cleaned up. Got our big bolts here cleaned up. These are the housing bolts. Springs for the brushes are all cleaned up. All right, so next we're going to clean up the housing. I'm going to make sure that we clean up the terminals really nice. And then we order some parts. And we get this thing back together for the summer. Yeah. I've gone ahead and reassembled brush holder here. Again, I was not worried about the brush holder whatsoever. Everything worked out just fine. Like I said, I still have to put a little bit of dielectric grease on these wires here to protect them. And the springs went together great. Terminals went back in when I bent the tabs back out, so those came out really nice. So this is ready to go. And there is this packing seal. It's made of some kind of material or felt or cardboard or something. And I'm guessing that, I don't know what that does. It's wet. I don't know is what I'm trying to tell you. I really don't know what this is. So.
Everybody's looking for answers all the time. I don't have all the answers. I try, but I just don't.
So here I was on my phone looking for Minn Kota parts because I'm going to have to order some parts for this thing. And pretty simple. I went online. I went to motors.johnsonoutdoors.com. I found my bearing number, which was very easy to find, as you can see right here. It's the 140101. And then just above it, I was correct. That is a paper gasket, that round thing right here. This is paper, and they call it a paper brush retention thingamabobber. I don't know what it does or what its purpose is, but I will find out. And all I did is I just popped over to Amazon real quick, found myself the seal kit, and I found myself the bearing. So we're going to order the seal kit for $22. I've already added it to the cart. In the meantime, I have parts coming. For you guys, this is going to be instant. For me, it's going to be between March 30th and April 17th. Holding pattern. All right, well, let's clean up this mess because, wow. Okay, minutes for you guys. 2 weeks for me. I finally got my parts in. And we have our seal kit, their big O-ring, and the bearing. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to start installing these. I've cleaned up the stator as much as I want to, making sure I cleaned all the cracks out of there. Cleaned all this up. So this is ready to go. I'm super pumped. I think we're going to have a good repair. The housing is clean. So let's get putting these parts back. right, so there you go. She's back together. Now we're ready for a test. Everything went super smooth. The parts went really well. One thing that I am going to mention is that I did drive the seal for that front cover. The top seal, I drove that in too far, so I think maybe I shouldn't have driven the first seal down all the way to the bottom. I should have put them in together with that spacer, but I don't know. We're going to see what happens. Should be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be... It'll be fine. I think it'll be okay. All right, so we got our battery hooked up. We have this securely mounted. 3 bars on the top. So let's try forward slowly. No sparks, eh? Oh. It's 50% right there. 75, 100. Well, that is awesome. And reverse. So reverse 35% is not working, but anything over 35% works. Uh-oh. Well, in usual fashion on this channel, I always mess something up. Well, it turns out now that for some reason when I go into forward, it goes in reverse. And when I go into reverse, it goes into forward. So, the only thing I can think of, despite me being super careful at the beginning of this video and putting a little plus symbol where the plus was, inside I probably mixed up those 2 wires and yeah. So the only thing I can see doing right now is I'm not taking that apart again. I'm just going to swap the wires up on top here if I can. Or if I just remember forward is backwards and backwards is forward. So that's just how it's going to be, I guess.